I'm Rachel Power, Community Correspondent of AccountingWEB.co.uk, and I'm here with John Stokdyk, AccountingWEB Editor, to discuss our Software Satisfaction Award shortlist results. At the end of this video, we're going to add on the winners, but not until November 7th, as that's when they're announced. Iris, BTC, KeyTime, TaxCalc, Sage, PTP, CCH and Digital.
No, it's all the big old names of the sector that we're pretty familiar with. A previous winner, Drumore, isn't in there. They won it a couple of years in the past. They're part of the Iris stable now, but they've dropped out. TaxFiler was an interesting one. They're a web-based developer. They were pretty much the first practice tool to be offered in the cloud. We've got a few votes for them, but not enough really to register on the same level of use of the likes of Iris with 18% and BTC with 17%. The BTC proportion, that's quite a newish small company, so that's a pretty good showing for them in terms of the number of people voting for them. But otherwise, yeah, it's all the names we know and have come to love.
That's VT Accounts, Iris, Sage, Caseware, KeyTime and Relate.
No, again, the Iris, the Sage, KeyTime, we're all in the tax section as well. VT Accounts, of course, is a bit of a sort of software legend in the AccountingWEB community. That's again an Excel-based tool that's very popular coming up, especially for self-assessment time. It's a great tool to sort of bang in the receipts and the invoices from your small business clients and get a set of accounts out quite quickly. But again, Excel-based and a bit sort of very much a small practitioner tool. Caseware, that's a good share for them in that market, because that's the sort of other end of the scale to VT. Caseware's really a big firm tool. They've also kind of made inroads to the corporate market, so they're now selling accounts production directly to companies who will prep up their own accounts and then give them to the accountant. So they're doing well. I'd say KeyTime and Relate, our friends from Ireland, have made a really good showing. There was quite a big strong vote from the Irish community. We saw Big Red Book as well in the small business accounts, and so usual names. May the best team win, really.
Iris, BTC, Relate Drive, CCH, Logical Office, Digita, Sage and Workflow Max.
We'll start with BTC up there at top. I mean, Iris has really emerged in terms of the numbers of users as a pretty clear market leader, and we, I mentioned the Drumore share of tax earlier. They've also got PTP, which was a nominee in the tax section as well. So Iris, big chunk of there, but BTC, 16% of the practice management sample. Again, great showing for them, because you think of them as a tax software company, but they're definitely in there with mixing it up with Iris. Relate Drive's a previous winner, so seeing them in there again is no surprise. But amongst the sort of the smaller market shares, I think Logical Office has kind of got a little niche amongst AccountingWEB members, so it's good to see them in the mix. And Workflow Max, it was a real surprise to me. That's the tool that kind of links into Xero. So that, and their share of this sample at 6% is kind of equivalent to what Xero's share of the small business accounting market is. So their strategy is to move from small business accounts to start mixing it up in actually going to the accountants direct and selling tools to the accountants. So looks like that strategy is beginning to work as well. So a very interesting kind of a mix between the old and the new. And we won't know who wins until the 7th of November. I think in our shortlists, if I'm correct, that's 2 products out of maybe the 15, 16 that we've mentioned. So it's really not a factor at the moment in practice. So the traditional accountancies has lagged behind the wider business world. I think that will change. It could change very, very quickly. As I say, Xero's come out of nowhere to 6% with that Workflow Max tool. And Iris now has got its own tax filing tools. Iris is going gangbusters for bringing out tools. So they've got tax, payroll, document portals are quite popular amongst all of these vendors. A lot of them offer that. So it will definitely come, but I think not until the end of this tax season. Iris has nailed down top spot across, as a comprehensive practice tool. Key time, I think, was in two categories. It didn't and although it had a few, some of Key Time's customers use the Relate Drive product too. So they have their own as well. But Drive had the bigger share. On the mainland. It's kind of the vote split on Key Time's part. Sage, is still in there, and Digita, I think the accounts production still, that's one of their newer products. So they didn't quite make it through just in that one section. But I think over time, the big four, that's Iris, Sage, Digita, and CCH. I think we'll see things emerge around them, but it's the little players. There's say a few interesting things going on, and I think what we also was saying how there are cloud tools really out there now. I've just been documenting them. I think the developer that maybe gets a complete suite of cloud tools available quick, and Sage are threatening to do it. Iris are already well on the way. If one of the big developers can get that in the market, I think they could see quite a lot of movement in that direction quite quickly. When you talk to accountants, a lot of them are very enthusiastic because of the flexibility it gives them. But I also think this is a situation where we could see somebody disruptive come in. If I've always talked about practice in a box, but if you could just have a web suite, £100 a month or less, preferably. I think there could be a stampede if someone actually brought out a fully functional, solid and reliable implementation. So I'm really keen to see if somebody can lay down the challenge to the established players there.
Here are the firms in contention for the award. And the winner is BTC Software. Is there anything in particular you've done over the last year or two to really address and improve customer satisfaction?
I think one of the key things is the suggestions box, John, because we have a direct link into all the people who use and evaluate our software. Anytime they find something that they think would benefit as an addition to the software or a way that we could improve our service in any way, they have a direct route through that into our development team, and a lot of what they suggest gets put into the product and can appear quite quickly. So it's an interactive development process. We don't stand still, we keep moving on. So the best testers out there are the people who use it on a day-to-day basis.
Do you think best of breed is a concept that will continue to prevail, or?
I sincerely hope so, because we're never going to go into every single area of software for accountants. We're going to stick firmly in the bank of delivering compliance software. We'll stick to what we know and continue to do a good job and improve it, rather than try and diversify ourselves too far. We don't see it as a threat. It's an interesting opportunity, but we're always taking soundings from people evaluating the software. We've talked to a few people who are presently evaluating some of the few cloud tax products that are out there. It's not currently, in our view, a function that's so much in the cloud space as, for instance, bookkeeping, which it seems to me is a no-brainer. Tax is more of a back-office function, and to be honest, quite a lot of the people I talk to don't actually want it to be right up front in front of the client. Inevitably, we will have to go there. Of course we will, and we have clear plans of when we will. I can't share those with you right now, but I'm happy to do so in the springtime when we've got a clearer picture of the roadmap. But what we will never do is go solely to the cloud, because we know full well we would lose a lot of customers if we only had a cloud offering. So we will have to always maintain, for a good many years, a combination of cloud and on-premise software.
Okay.
And UK PLC broadband isn't good enough.
What are you going to be doing at BTC to stay ahead of the competition in for next year's Software Satisfaction Awards?
Watch this space.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of things coming up. You'll hear a lot more noise from us come January, February, March and onwards. Some changes to products, some new things being introduced, and we will continue that evolutionary process of listening to the users and adding those new features.
Congratulations for winning the Tax Software Prize this year.
Thank you very much indeed, and the team here are all delighted.
Again, these are the contenders we talked about earlier. And the winner of this category is BTC Software.
That's tremendous. I mean, unbelievable achievement. I think particular praise needs to go to Rob, who started out the whole development process of the self-assessment product with in mind the notion that it would always have practice management at its heart. Even when it was first launched, people spotted there were things in there that looked a bit like the basis of practice management. Indeed, they were there, but not fully recognized or developed. And so once we did launch it, we were able to add a lot of additional functionality and features and continue to do so. So that is becoming increasingly our kind of core product, and that's around which we will build the product suite going forward.
Are there any features or characteristics you think that are the strength of the practice management tool?
I think it's not individual features. I think it's the approach and the way it's been designed and honed. I've talked about adding additional features and functionality, but from the outset, we wanted to keep it simple. We wanted, like the tax software, for it to be focused on our target audience, which is the small to medium practice, and we wanted it to enable them to manage their practices better. We didn't necessarily want to add all the additional full-blown CRM functionality that we see in other more expensive products. It is, if we talk money terms, only £100 or slightly more than the basic self-assessment product. So the step up for the practice management functionality is really not a huge amount of money. So we've honed it and aimed it squarely at those practices and what they need to do to keep track of life, rather than running it on the back of a fag packet on a big whiteboard or on an Excel spreadsheet. Just introduced a measure of effort relating back to how much time is spent in the software by individual members of the team and how much activity goes into client work, so that the users can look back and decide whether a particular client needs to pay more money next time around or less or stay the same. The majority of our target audience being fixed fee. There's other things coming around that. We're going to wrap more features and functionality around that central hub and make it the center of the product going forward, but constantly with a view to, and any of our users or potential users, please listen to this, if you see a function or a feature that you would appreciate being in the product, if we can realistically include it, we will.
Congratulations for both practice management and tax.
Thank you, John.
And thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Great pleasure.
Now we turn our attention to the Accounts Production category in the 2013 Software Satisfaction Awards. To remind you, here's a list of the contenders, and the winner is VT Accounts. You may remember VT. They've shown up in this category in the past. It's an Excel-based program and specializes in accounts production. It's very popular with accountants for putting together the kind of classic shoebox account clients, the end-of-the-year clients. It's worth noting Caseware in there as well. That's in the middle of the running. That's a specialist accounts production package catering for a more sophisticated practice audience. And with the advent of IXBRL, they've moved into the corporate world as well. Otherwise, it's those two against the usual suite suppliers. This is one area of the market we don't think will be affected by the cloud for a few years yet. And thank you for listening to this video. We hope you enjoyed hearing about some of the runners and riders and the winners in our Software Satisfaction Awards. They all deserve commendation because these are software companies that are being independently vetted by their users,
and we look forward to you taking part in our survey next year.